What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So we're taking a look at the Forever Winter here on the Steam Deck, a video I almost didn't do because I've really been following this game a lot. I know it has so much performance issues, optimization problems, and balancing and mechanic things that need to be worked on. But I also know that the audio design, the music, the atmosphere, the art style are fantastic, and there's so much potential here. So I kind of wish they wouldn't have released the game yet, but due to a lot of pressure from fans, it's in early access a little quicker than the devs might have wanted. Let's get into it and take a look at the game a little bit here and talk about it some more. As far as settings, there's not a ton to pick from here, but I'm on low 800p full screen. We have dynamic resolution turned on with our resolution scale turned down a good bit, which I'll come here and show you now. Unfortunately, there's no numbers or percentages that show up on the slider bar yet. You just got to kind of guess your way through that, but this is what it set me up with when I set it to low there, so I left it that way. Now here in the innards area, which is like your player base or your hub, this is where you have all the stuff you can do from your ready room to launch, your combat loadout, and vendors and regions and all that kind of stuff. You can also just access all these hub areas just by pressing start and going in. All these characters are different characters you're going to spawn in as if you die, and then you come in as someone else through your extraction mission. You have different vendors to purchase from and all of that. And performance around the innards, of course, is pretty rough here, and you know, it is what it is, and I'm sure they'll get some of it straightened out. I didn't anticipate the game to run on the Steam Deck at all, so the fact I was able to go in and make a video and actually do 4 extractions and run-throughs on the Steam Deck was pretty surprising. So I'm going to go through here and show a little bit of those runs and all that kind of stuff once we finish walking around the innards here a little bit. But yeah, you can make your way around manually to all the hubs. There's another hub in the back that actually you can go to upgrade your base here and that kind of stuff. You have the ability to play with other players, co-op, online, and all that kind of thing too. I did everything solo here for launch day, messing around with the game. And again, FPS is horrible, performance is horrible. I was just surprised I was even able to run the game, and surprisingly never got a crash in my couple hours of testing, which was surprising for me. Now jumping into the first area that you're going to get into here for the mission, where all you have to do really is extract. You can loot as well, which is a good idea, but all you have to do is make it to the extraction point. I actually did this 2 times because I forgot to track the mission the first time, so it didn't count, and then I went in and did it again right away, and performance was the same both times. There's a lot of randomness to the enemies that spawn in. There's battles happening all over the place, but the more that happens and you get these big cinematic landscapes with all this battling happening, is when your performance goes from the 30s or 40s in some areas all the way down to the teens or 20s, which is where you spend most of the time at. Unfortunately, I think for most people this would be very unplayable. The only benefit I could say to this style game, the fact that you're really not supposed to get into much gunplay, it's mostly about stealth, sneaking, looting, extracting over and over again. You can kind of get away with the lower FPS a lot more just because of that. But if you do get yourself into a heated battle or into some other areas where it tanks into the teens and you're trying to survive, you're likely to die and lose all your loot. It's not the best way to be able to play the game. Again, you'll have areas like this that might run in the 30s or 40s, and then you're going to see a change. As we go up here, there's no enemy spawned in yet. Watch on that stairway up there, that walkway. All of a sudden, there's a trigger point here. Boom. They've spawned in and their flashlights are on, and performance, frame times, and everything all goes to heck. We don't even have that many enemies on screen, and when you compare it to something like Space Marine 2 graphics and enemies and stuff, I think that this game's just so poorly optimized. There's a lot of room for improvement here. The fact we can even play it on the Steam Deck at all and get this kind of performance out of it, even, I think is surprising, and shows that maybe in the future we can get enough optimizing to this game once it's not an early access game, or in my opinion basically an alpha game. It might actually run playable on the Steam Deck in the future. For now, I think it's pretty rough and a lot of people would want to shy away from it. But again, because it isn't really meant to get into combat unless you have to, it's a lot of sneaking, looting, and all that type of thing. You can get away with some of the lower FPS. Again, I did 4 extractions. I went through 4 different missions, went through the levels, extracted, gotten a couple gunplay combat, won a couple of times, died a couple of times, mostly due to myself, not due to their performance. But yeah, the game has a lot of jank and a lot of issues besides performance, and I really hope that the devs giving in under some pressure to release it in early access earlier than they wanted doesn't hurt them in the long run. The game has a ton of potential besides just on the Steam Deck, because its performance issues go much broader than that to other systems. I saw a lot of 4090s crashing and having problems as well. and all kinds of things like that, and frame rate issues. So hopefully early access, rather than hurting them in this shape, will actually help them get them more funding that they need, because the game does have a lot of potential. If they'll ever get it to run great on the Steam Deck or lower end hardware, who knows? But I was able to show you some performance here in a few different areas, and I was able to go through and play a few different extractions and get in and out of the missions. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to show this real quick here so you can see the performance. I wouldn't call it very playable, but I was able to go through and play and enjoy some of the game on the Steam Deck. All right, guys, thanks a lot for coming and check out the video as always. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.